Are you ready for a prophetic adventure? Are you ready for extreme faith combined with extreme sport? This is Prayer Walk, where we follow a courageous woman that has set out to walk all across the borders of Norway to pray for the land. And yes, the nature and the weather in Norway is not tamed, so this is going to be a real challenge. And if you want to follow that journey, then I will be reporting on the real struggles, the tears, the challenges, the joys, the blessings and breakthroughs every Sunday. So stay tuned. Hello. Hi there. We are back again with another prayer walk, and this time I was planning to go through a little bit more about how Janne Christine decided to start out with this project in the first place. However, since last show, she has been up in the mountains again, and she's not going to be walking all the time. She is going to be walking step by step, like taking it like, like you take a few days and you walk, or you take a week and you walk, and then you have breaks in between. And that is how she has decided to do it, out of practical reasons, but also because it is very intense to walk. And it also ties in with finances, and, you gotta have a little bit of work in between as well. So I could go through the things that, was the start of all of this, and I will later on. But right now, I really want to share the things that has been going on recently, because it is, that update, when it's fresh, it's easier to share. And it is interesting to know what is going on right now. And later on, I suppose there will be a time when she is resting, when it's more like cold or nothing much going on. And then I will go back into the things that built up to this in the first place. So having said that, right now she is not up in the mountains, but she was on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. I suppose also partly Saturday. And she was in an area that was called Dovre. And if you haven't listened to this show before, it's quite new, and we are following Janne Christine, a Norwegian woman that has decided to walk all around the wild borders of Norway. And that is not an easy task. And in addition to that, she is also walking on top of a lot of strategic points and mountaintops in the heart of the country. And that's where she is focusing right now. That's the beginning before she starts walking around the outer borders of Norway. So this is a big challenge, and she's doing it to dedicate the land to God, and to wake up that good spirit again. Norway used to be a very God-fearing country, and we want to get back to that. And she wants to be a part of, and she wants to invite the Norwegian people to be a part of cleansing the country and cleansing our souls. And something that has come up to her recently a lot of times is that God wants to heal the heart of Norway, to heal it in a way where Norway comes back to him, and where he can reign and rule in the country in a new way that we haven't seen, and perhaps we've never seen it. And that is my desire, that is Janne Christine's desire, and it seems to be God's desire too. And so right now she is focusing on the heart of Norway, so to say, because in the center of Norway there is a huge mountain area. And I mean, Norway is a very thin and long country. So if you have a map and you kind of like draw a cross through Norway, you'll end up in the middle in the area where she is right now. And the constitution of our country is actually sworn in by this mountain range. And it is said that as long as this mountain stands, so also shall the constitution stand. And having said that, I just have to add that it's not one mountain. We have a country that is so filled with mountains. So when I'm speaking of this area, it's just, a huge collection of mountains. And one top is higher than the other, but it's just a huge mountain area. And yeah, she has been walking in the Dovre area. It's called Dovre. And some of you may know by the things that I've said earlier, in this area it is said that the king of the troll is residing. And we have so much mythology and things connected to our country and our history. And if you go back a little bit, a few generations, everyone has stories about trolls and little creatures and out in the woods and under the houses and under the ground and all kinds of creatures. They're in our fairy tales and in our songs, in our language. And this is something that does not come from God. And the more that we dig into this process of cleansing the country, these things seems to pop up. And so she started out, she went up on Wednesday, and she was in this Dovre area. And she was heading up to a mountain that is called Knutshø. It's a little bit strange name for English people, but anyway, that's what it's called. But she was kind of like doubting. She wanted to go up there, and there's 3 tops actually, so it's not just one mountain, but it's a mountain thing with 3 tops on it. And then she was doubting a little bit, and so she was asking God, where should I go, and is there something you want me to do first? And then she was led to a lake that was by the foot of this mountain. And in that area, there is a place that has been used for more than 1,000 years for having guests to, spend the night. And it's very close to, I'm not really sure what you call that in English, but it's very, very close to a pilgrim's road. Do you say that? I think you do. We have a pilgrim's road, and it's very close to that area. And the reason why people have been sleeping there for 1,000 years is because of this pilgrim's road. But this road was also used by kings and leaders of armies during the times back, when crossing the nation from this side to the other, they would go this road, and then during that journey they had to sleep somewhere, and that this was a place. So there was a lot of history in that place, and so she actually ended up walking around that lake and spreading salt and declaring God's word, and she went there in prayer, and her presence, and God is with her when she's there. She really felt that helped the situation, that something lifted and was turned into something brighter, and she felt more peace now of going to the top of the mountain. This was kind of like something that just had to be done before starting climbing the mountain. But then there was another thing also. On the way to this water, she had noticed that there was a place that she'd been driving past, and it wasn't a cottage, but it was something that was built, like a man-made thing, kind of like the way that you build when you want to have mailboxes lined up. So it wasn't a cottage, but kind of like this little thing with a sign on it. And there was a description or an inscription of the words, "As long as this mountain stands, so also shall the Constitution stand." Perhaps it was not those words exactly, because it was in Norwegian, but it said similar to that in Norwegian. And so she felt, in this area, she really had to do something, because that was like the manifested place of that declaration. And we really don't want to be under that declaration, not in the sense that it was made. We want it to be renewed, and we want it to be, we want the country to be fully dedicated to God, and to have God in this declaration, so that, okay, if it's for the mountain, then it's because God resides there. So that was the thing she spent time on. She focused on this area and prayed over that and declared certain things. And then she did something that I'm going to be talking about many times, and that is she put down a tent peg. And that is a prophetic act of pulling heaven closer to earth, and to put a mark that is, it will stay in the soil after she leaves. And it's blessed, it's been prayed over, it's been anointed with oil, and it's been declared over, so that the energy, the intent that has been, that this thing has been charged with, is still going to be in the earth, and it's going to be a reminder in energy and to God and to us as well, that was done. We have declared a new decree, a new declaration for our Constitution and for the mountain. And so that has been done. And when that was done, she was ready to, go up the mountain. And she thought it was going to be fairly quick. But it's always a surprise in these mountains. You never know how far it really is. And so she got closer to the mountain, and she's walking with her dog. And on the way, she had a little, rest and ate some. And during that period, she got the sense of, there's a female troll-like creature in our mythology. We call it Huldra. And it is said to be a very sensual, seductive creature that is out in the woods. She has long hair, usually depicted with light long hair. And some depict her as very beautiful, some as more like troll-like creature. And it's said that she has kind of like two faces. She looks, when she's seducing you, she looks like this nice, beautiful thing, but reality is not like that. And then, of course, she has a tail, which is not so nice, a little bit creepy. And as she was eating, Janne Christine, she got the sense that there was indeed a lot of that energy of these Huldra sort of energy, this feminine, seductive creature that was, rooted in that area. And that may actually have a lot to do with seducing big things in the country, like politics, and how we allow things and are seduced into believing that something that is not good is good, like the EU and the globalist plans and stuff like that. So it's very interesting how she picked up that, and then she continued walking, and And as she did that, I was at home, I was in my office, and I didn't know exactly where she was and what was going on. But suddenly I felt this intense battle, as if it was this troll-like female angry thing that was raging. And I sent her a text and I said, oh boy, I feel this. And I put on some battle music, as I call it, and kind of just warred in prayer with that. And we exchanged our ideas, or our thoughts, and it was very matching. And she said, well, I'm getting close to the top, so no wonder you feel that. And moments later, a fog came, a thick fog came, and she could barely see. It had been clear all the time, and then this fog came. And it was as if, this other side, this dark side, the spiritual dark side, was so angry that they tried to do something, they couldn't really do much. And when the huldra is depicted, it is very often around lakes and with a fog, like a mysterious thing. So that was a coincidence as well. And before that, I had a vision of her in front of a mountain, and I just saw this straight path, and I really felt the part of darkness. They saw what she was doing, and they were raging. And we had a couple of other people that was following and praying that reported the same kind of thing, that they are raging, they are not used to this, that somebody dares to come into this territory and declare things and take it back and cast them out. I mean, there was such a rage. And at the same time, we knew that there was nothing they could do. And one of the listeners, or one of those following, saw the Elijah, the wagons used in war that the servant of Elijah saw. So, the army that was with her is, of course, stronger than who is against her. But it is amazing to see. She came up there, and the fog came as if it was ordered. And by declaring and by pushing through and by prayer by the team that was sitting around, the fog lifted, and she was able to go not only to one top, but to all of the 3 tops. She put in a tent peg on the highest point, and as she was there, she understood, why God had given her such a powerful presence, experience of his presence before she went up, because she needed that before the battle. So that mountain has been declared, and this is tough work. It's lots of places that needs to be taken like that. But what we get from people that are sitting around is that they really sense a transformation, a deep transformation in the heart of Norway, in the governmental structures and the root belief of our country, what we are founded on. And that, I think, is incredibly inspiring. I hope, and I would like to bring in some of those that are sitting around in the country and praying and feeding in and having experiences. I would like to have them on the show if some of them would like that. So that is also something that I'm looking forward to. But now, time flies. I've just barely started this, and now it is time to close it up. But I will be back next Saturday with Spirit Talk. Same time as this, which is 10 a.m. in California, 1 p.m. in Florida, 18 o'clock in London, and 19 o'clock in Central Europe. And I will also be back next Sunday with prayer walk, which is the same time just on a Sunday. And so until then, I hope you will be blessed. I love you, and God is with you. Take care.